Okay, good morning everyone. Greetings. How you all? I guess you can see I'm got my unevenly oiled face just washed up and got dressed. And coming to you with a very brief message. And I'm going to deliberately change my tone just to shake things up by not being passionate today. I'm going to do it on purpose. Okay, this is a deliberate act of changing the tone because it's in the air, it shakes things up because I'm changing gear, like I'm shifting back gear to almost idle, okay? Just to actually cause the message to be heard better, okay? It's a form of force and subtlety, okay? This is 4:59, Thursday, October 7th, 2021. This is what I'm going to address. Problematic. Think about this. When you think about all of the protests and arguments that Protestants made against the Catholic Church, and then all of the protests and complaints as humans, non-religious people have against the Catholic Church, what do you take note of? The fact that none of the reformers had a whole lot to say about all of the immorality in the church. They did condemn the lack of freedom to marry, but they didn't go in depth about the harm done, okay? It was always more of a doctrinal rip, but it was which made it more abstract, disconnected, and non-loving, non-humane. Okay, so almost a form of inhumaneness was in the form of the Protestantism, rather than a humane, down-to-earth, pragmatic protest of the ills of the church on a human basis. When you even look at Luther's 95 Thesis, he didn't deal with human issues. It was all about doctrinalism, but what about how people get treated, the wrongs done, okay? The immorality, the hidden babies, okay? The tortures, how superior seed women get put in convents and are getting raped, okay? He never dealt with that. What I'm trying to say to you is there's inherent problematic issues with Protestantism in terms of not confronting the problems of Catholicism as if the world was left to do something once again because the church dropped the ball twice. The Catholic dropped it by letting it become a part of itself. Then the Protestants dropped it by not really confronting it, so then they produce worse fruit. Okay? Now, I'm going to say one more thing. I'm just going to let this camera just rest because I'm not going to stay on long. But like I said, I'm just going to deliberately gear down to almost nothing just to shake things up because I'm changing my tone so much because I'm usually so passionate. So I'm going to be very calm about this. The issue of the Rune families that I discussed. These families were labeled and marked in Europe because of evils they had done, and they lost their names. And they were given names of doom and damnation because it was a warning not to associate with them. They used the Protestant faith and hid and came over, okay, and hid behind it, okay? But they were inherently murderous, evil people. And this is reason why things like what happened to Metacom, the fact that he challenged these Doom families that were hiding behind their Protestantism, what did they do? They hung them because they were murderers. This is the problem we have in America, that you can't save these families. They're condemned. They were marked because nothing worked for them. They're just like demon seed from the time of the Jews that had to go, okay? And we have a nation founded, so we put all these beautiful promises in our documents. It doesn't save these people, okay? They're damnable people. They're inherently evil. They're the children of a lesser God, as M. Scott Peck analyzed in his book, as I've discussed also and backed him up with all metaphysics, religion, spirituality, in fact, that there are some people you have to face the fact that are not redeemable, not lovable, and that they are inherently evil people. It's a fact. Some people are not redeemable. They are just corrupt people. When you put people like that in government, they'll say it about me. Okay? This is the problem we have in America. When you give people like that authority, they're going to come after me because they're the hypocrite. It's called the hypocritical liar. That's the reason why they got condemned in Europe. They came over here and they perpetrated the same fraud. So we blacks and Jews and all these other ethnicities have had to continue to fight, and whites, with these same groups of damnable doomed families who are completely unredeemable, who have marked names. I mentioned the Gowans. Why would he call the Gowans? Gowans like gnaw on the bones of live people. They were sick, creepy people, okay? They're underground. They still do the same thing in America. They're just two-faced about it. That's why Philly's such a hotbed of heat. Okay, has such a rotten history. The Chews, because they would chew on people. Edom, Edomite, the redneck. Why? Because they would eat people alive, okay? Creepy, vicious, doomed, hopeless. Why do you think we blacks are still fighting for equality in the South and still have problems? Because the redneck and the people in influence, Edomites, are absolutely hopeless, irredeemable people. So what they say about us blacks? They're the hypocrite, the same scripture, the hypocritical liar. This is the problem, was this. The governments in Europe refused to back the church up when these people needed to go. They refused to take them out. So what happened? The biggest problem was the royal seed families, name by name, that refused to condemn doomed families ended up being killed by them either during the Holocaust. Over in America, they have systematically wiped out superior seed people because that's what their hate was, okay? I'm going to mention just one more family, the Yost. Why they call them the Yost? Because they would hoist up and crucify and murder superior seed, royal seed women, okay? So I'm going to tell you the truth. You can deal with it, but this is the reason why we have the problems in America of the inconsistency in what you say and do. Okay? Yeah, I'll say it one more time. The Yost, because they were a damn family that used to hoist up and hang royal seed women. Okay? The Gnawans used to chew up alive. They were damned. They actually lost their names. They were given names as a stamp of doom. So I told you, don't deal with these people. Okay? That's why our country has such a hypocrisy and such a flip mode, and that's why we have so many problems with refusal to live by your word, because you have too many damned families that live by hypocrisy, that are sworn to destroy royal seed and superior seed, who literally live the creed, who just blame you. Okay? And it's not the pot calling the kettle black. Okay? It's the filthy calling the clean. As the scripture says, woe unto you who call evil good and good evil, who put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Now, that's the fact of the matter, okay? And this is why we have so many problems in America, because so many of these doomed families who the governments refuse to work with the church to wipe out, then they go right in and they polluted the church. And like I said, in the end, these corrupt families like the Hitlers are in the Vatican, casing it and getting to all of that superior seed. They were jealous. It's the simple matter of the jealous ones. The ones that are ugly. Why are they ugly? Because they got cursed for being, because they were beautiful, but because they were hateful, they got cursed and lost their beauty. They got jinxed, and they refused to relent. Too many Red Skull families in America, and they're not all white. They're black, they're Asian, they're Russian. It doesn't mean all Russians are bad. Doomed families come from every color, complexion, and tribe, and nation, and ethnicity, just like superior seed, okay? That's the problem we have in America, refusing to make a difference, and then you want to be equitable to the doom room to my expense, okay? So in Philadelphia, we have a little city run by these doom room families, and that's why it's so perverse and evil. It's still a hotbed of evil, okay? It's still not fixed, and so everything they'll say, until the righteous rule that city, perversity and lies. This is something y'all all need to think about.